So, we're going to be looking at 10 old house styles no longer built today. I work as a building inspector in Colorado, and for me, this is always really exciting. I enjoy looking at these things. Alright, let me make sure I'm recording here. I don't know how to look at that. Yep. Alright, so 10 old house styles no longer built today. I'm sure you're going to like this one if you're into architecture, building, or being housed.
Imagine living in a house with 8 symmetrical sides, or one made entirely with enameled steel panels. Here are 10 old home styles that were once popular but are no longer commonly built today. Octagon houses were a unique architectural trend that started in the mid-19th century, largely due to the influence of Orson Squire Fowler. He promoted the idea that octagonal homes were more efficient, offering better airflow, natural light, and space utilization. Unlike traditional rectangular houses, octagon houses enclosed about 20% more space with the same perimeter, making them cost-effective and energy efficient. Many of these homes featured flat roofs with central cupolas, wraparound verandas, and innovative heating and water collection systems. Despite their advantages, octagon houses never became mainstream and gradually
until the UFC came through, and now they're banging.
Faded from popularity in the early 1900s. Some well-preserved examples, like the Longwood Mansion in Mississippi and the Octagon House in Watertown, Wisconsin, still exist today.
Do you want to maintain all that?
Fowler's own octagonal home, known as Fowler's Folly, was so extravagant that it was abandoned and eventually demolished in 1897.
It was condemned due to the heavy alliteration of the name of that house.
Queen Anne-style architecture became popular in the U.S. between 1880 and 1910.
All right, I'm going to stop right here. These houses are dope because of the turrets that you see in the center of the frame right there, the big dormers that they had attached to them, the different roof lines. They definitely would probably struggle because of all those hips and valleys that are connected as far as maintenance, right? You know, you got to clear that if you have trees too close, you know, they get worn out and whatnot. But the best thing about them is they're always haunted.
Placing the French-inspired Second Empire style. This design featured asymmetrical facades, large porches, and decorative woodwork, often with patterned shingles and towers. Unlike its British names,
St. Petersburg. That looks like the frickin' Kremlin right here. Look at that. Mother Russia in the house.
American Queen Anne homes were more whimsical, with varied roof lines and intricate details.
Whimsy.
The style spread across the country, influencing row houses, mansions, and even smaller cottages. After 1900, it began to fade, giving way to simpler colonial revival designs.
Got faded.
However, some Queen Anne features, like wraparound porches, continued into the 1920s.
Because we all know wraparound porches now are racist.
The most famous example of this style is the Carson Mansion in Eureka, California, considered one of the most photographed Victorian houses in the country. The American Foursquare could be found from the mid-1890s to the late 1930s. It was a reaction against the highly decorative Victorian homes of the 19th century, favoring a simpler, more practical design.
Could you imagine that? Like, seeing beautiful homes so much that you had a visceral reaction and had to build something more boring? I don't get it.
These homes were typically 2.5 stories tall with a square, boxy shape, providing maximum interior space on small city lots. Also known as the Prairie Box, it shared many features with the prairie architecture pioneered by Frank Lloyd Wright. They often featured a large front porch, a hipped roof with a central dormer, and built-in cabinetry, influenced by the Craftsman style. Many American Foursquares were sold as mail-order homes, with companies like Sears and Aladdin shipping pre-cut materials for easy assembly.
All right, so check that out. That is now in vogue again with modular homes, kit homes, prefab homes, and barn dominiums, where now what Sears was doing for less than $2,000. Do you see that? What they were doing for $2,000 back in the day, which probably had better wood, better nails, better everything, just because of the quality of things back then. Now we're doing because we have to, because everything built out there is such garbage. Consumers are saying, you know what, just bring it to my house. I'll do it myself.
This style was particularly common in Midwestern urban neighborhoods and streetcar suburbs, where efficient, affordable housing was in high demand. The American craftsman style emerged in the early 20th century as part of the arts and crafts movement, emphasizing handcrafted design
and macaroni painting boom because of the arts and crafts movement. Never forget.
Materials. It became especially popular in California, where small single-family homes known as California bungalows spread widely.
CBs.
Inspired by the prairie style and shingle style, craftsman homes featured low-pitched roofs, exposed beams, and built-in furniture. The movement was influenced by figures like Gustav Stickley, who published the Craftsman magazine to promote the style. Unlike the British arts and crafts movement, American designers made handcrafted homes more affordable for the middle class. The style started to decline by the 19th.
Handcrafted homes made more affordable for the middle class. Do you realize how far in the wrong direction we have come, to where back in those days you could have a handcrafted home with fine details and hardwoods and all that stuff as a middle class earner? Mrs. Jones probably stayed at home and lemon pledged all the woods all day, and the dude worked at a mill, and they had that. Probably a 3-bedroom with an addition they put on down the road.
30s, replaced by more modern architectural trends. One of the most famous examples of craftsman architecture is the Gamble House in Pasadena, California, built between 1908 and 1909 by Green & Green.
Thing's dope.
The Shotgun House is a narrow, rectangular home style that was especially common in the southern states from the late 19th century
Dirty
to
South.
the 1920s. These houses are typically only about 12 feet wide and feature rooms arranged in a straight line with no hallways, so that a person could theoretically fire a shotgun through the front door and have the blast exit cleanly out the back.
That would really depend on the choke of that shotgun and the barrel length. Let's be real here, architecture guy. Know your shotguns.
The design likely originated in New Orleans, influenced by Haitian and West African architecture from the early 1800s. Shotgun houses were inexpensive to build and allowed for high-density housing in growing urban areas.
It's like a trailer home.
They were often constructed close together to maximize land use and take advantage of natural ventilation in hot climates. Many fell into disrepair in the mid-20th century due to urban renewal projects. But recent...
And meth. Don't forget the meth.
Gentrification has led to their restoration in some areas. Elvis Presley was born in a shotgun house in Tupelo, Mississippi, which is now preserved as a museum.
And because he liked opioids and hamburgers, not meth.
Tudor Revival architecture, also known as Mock Tudor, became popular in the United States in the early 20th century. Inspired by medieval English homes, it featured...
Look at that. Look at that entryway. Okay, right in the middle, low entryway, and then they got the freaking samurai hat cover over the top. All that brickwork for the chimney. Damn, dude. It's like you're walking into the Magic Castle or something.
Pitched roofs, decorative half-timbering, and tall brick chimneys. Wealthy Americans in the 1920s and 30s favored Tudor Revival homes, especially in suburban neighborhoods. The style was associated with old-world charm and craftsmanship, making it appealing to those seeking a historic aesthetic. New York City suburbs like Westchester County, Englewood, and Teaneck have many Tudor Revival homes from this time.
What the hell is Teaneck?
After World War II, the popularity of Tudor Revival declined as more modern, efficient home styles emerged. By the 1970s and 1980s, builders in the U.S. simplified the style with synthetic materials rather than real wood, making them easier to maintain.
All right, that's super valid. I've worked on one Tudor home for a family one time and did some maintenance, and with all that trim work being real wood, especially on the sunny side of the building, it's a nightmare. You need a maintenance budget for that kind of home for sure. So yeah, throw some synthetics, some forever chemicals, get it in your testicles, you'll be just fine.
The Dutch colonial revival style became fashionable in the early 20th century as part of America's nostalgia or colonial architecture. It is known for its distinctive gambrel roof, which resembles the roof of a barn, and wide overhanging eaves. The style was inspired by the original Dutch colonial homes built by settlers in the 17th and 18th centuries, mainly in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Unlike the early stone and brick structures, Dutch colonial revival homes were often made with wood siding and featured large dormer windows for added space and light. The design also commonly included a symmetrical facade, a central entry door, and decorative shutters.
It's all a facade.
This architectural style remained popular through the 1930s, especially in the northeastern U.S. One of the most famous Dutch colonial revival...
Oh yeah, name that house. Name that house. What happened in that house? Do you know? Do you know? I have nothing to offer you, but if you know, a pat on the back and, you know, the backside too. All right. That is the Amityville house, okay? A lot of controversy. Crazy dude killed the family. Is it haunted? Was it haunted? There's a lot of cool documentaries, but you probably knew that, and if you didn't, watch some movies.
Is 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York, which became infamous due to the Amityville horror legend. Lustron homes were prefabricated, all steel.
All right. Who has seen Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser? This has given me all the Blast from the Past Brendan Fraser vibes right here. Great movie, by the way. Watch some movies.
Houses built in the late 1940s to address the post-World War II housing shortage. Designed by industrialist Carl Strandlund, they were meant to be durable, low-maintenance alternatives to traditional wooden homes. Each house was made of enameled steel panels and built from a kit containing over 3,000 parts. The Lustron Corporation planned to produce tens of thousands of these homes, but financial problems and government intervention led to its bankruptcy in 1950. Despite their short production run, over 2,000 Lustron homes were built, and many still stand today. They were designed to be easy to clean, and their interiors featured metal walls, built-in storage, and even a unique combination clothes and dishwashing machine.
I'll be honest, I don't know how I feel about having interior metal walls. You know, like I guess it depends on your climate. I am in Colorado in climate zone 6, which is one of the rougher ones. And nah, I can't say that I would like a metal interior wall.
Some Lustron homes were even exported to Venezuela for oil industry workers. The Atomic Ranch was a type of mid-century modern home that became popular after World War II. It was a variation of the classic ranch-style house, but featured sleek modern designs with open floor plans. Architect Cliff May helped popularize the ranch house in the 1930s, drawing inspiration from Spanish colonial homes in California. By the 1950s,
I think that's in Arizona. I think that's in Phoenix. I'm pretty sure I've driven by that house. But anyways, this is very... People who like the video game Fallout would like these types of homes because of the era. It's got a whole jet age kind of vibe to it.
9 out of 10 new homes in America were ranches due to their affordability and practicality. Atomic Ranch homes often had large picture windows, clear-story windows, and flat or butterfly roof lines to create an indoor-outdoor feel. They were also known for their bold colors and futuristic, space-age design elements. One of the most famous builders of Atomic Ranch homes was Joseph Eichler, who helped spread the style across California.
And built for the Nazis.
Brutalist homes were a bold architectural style that emerged in the 1950s and gained popularity through the 60s and 70s.
Okay, I'm stopping him right here for a second. To call brutalist architecture a bold architectural style, I don't know if that's accurate, okay? If you're familiar with brutalist architecture, a lot of government buildings now are brutalist, and I know it's a concrete fashioning, a lot of just plain walls, flat, and yeah, you can call that bold, but I call it basic, and I think that this is where the deterioration of architecture began, because if you can build a commercial size building with just straight lines all the way through in concrete construction, yes, it's efficient and sturdy and low maintenance, but it lacks a soul. It lacks a spirit. The structure in this one, it has a lot of rounded edges and different vertical and horizontal line changes because it's a residential structure. But what I'm talking about specifically is brutalist structure in commercial was the end of beauty in the West. And that's my personal opinion. You can think whatever you want. I just think that that was where the idea of long-term cost effectiveness and like structurally hardening something, like for a government building per se, that's where we just lost the idea of architectural beauty.
These homes featured raw concrete, geometric shapes, and a minimalist aesthetic that rejected decorative elements. The style was inspired by modernist architect.
Oh, beautiful. Look at it. Oh my God, I just can't even fathom all the detail. It's a kid's first Minecraft structure. Jesus.
Like Le Corbusier, and was meant to emphasize function over form. Many brutalist homes were built as social housing.
Okay, that's cool. That is what you can do in brutalist, where you're taking, I don't even know what you would call these upside down buttresses or whatever. That's cool, but we don't see that a lot.
University buildings, particularly in socialist countries where concrete symbolized equality. However, by the late 1970s, the style began to decline as people associated it with urban decay and cold, uninviting designs.
Exactly.
Despite this, some brutalist buildings have gained cultural significance and are now protected landscapes.
It's Jackie Treehorn's house from The Big Lebowski.
The word brutalism comes from the French term béton brut, meaning raw concrete, not from the word brutal.
Raw dog doo-doo.
So, if you could bring back one style of home, what would it be? Drop?
Yeah, that's a solid question. So I'm in my mid-30s. I'm still working up the financial chain. I got a family and stuff, and we're definitely going to go in the affordable direction because that's just what you got to do these days. If I had my way, I would... My wife and I'll be honest, it's my wife's idea, but I support it, is a Gothic revival. You take a Victorian-style house, you change some of the height lines, and you basically can make your own Addams Family house, and they're freaking gorgeous. A lot of them will still have parlors and things like that. The idea of that for renovating is to find a Victorian house and then do it yourself. If you wanted to do it on your own, good luck because of the cost. But to answer this guy's question, if I could bring back any type of house, it would be the Gothic revival / Victorian with a little bit of like freak on it. But what do you think? Leave it in the comments. Appreciate you guys listening, and have a great night.